Hey everyone, this is Jaxie, and today we are going to get excited about history with Panzer Corps, the Grand Campaign. We are getting ready to do this bad boy all the way from 1939 to 1945. I am super excited, and we're jumping in right away by launching a recon attack on an anti-air, and boy, that attack did not go as well as my intel men thought. One of the things I love about Panzer Corps is that you have these intel numbers, but unless you change it, it will randomize them, so you'll get differences every single game. And when there's as much content as you get in Panzer Corps, this means you can just replay these massive campaigns over and over and over. So, for people who aren't familiar, Panzer Corps is kind of a reimagining of the old Panzer General games. You get units that don't correspond as much to like divisions and regiments and battalions as they do like unit types. So you have tanks and infantry and artillery. And so right here, tanks and well-trained German infantry against Polish cavalry in the open, not too bad. The infantry thought they were going to get a handle on the Poles, but it was -2. Right there, the tank, though, just destroys them. And so it's a real easy game. You're moving, you're clicking. Artillery next to units will support them with defensive bonuses, so I'll do that. Now, moving up my units in trucks, because I have good reconnaissance, I don't get scared, but units can get attacked in trucks for extra damage. And right here, I want to take out the Polish Air Force by moving in my fighters and attacking. And now I have, hopefully, an advantage. Nope. Using mountain troops against entrenchments, that's those little lines are, those anti-tank troops do not want to budge. So decent opening turn, and I here am going to buy some pioneers. My engineer units, they're going to be real good against strong points. They're going to attack very well. The only downside of the pioneer is that they move slowly. So even though I would love to have them for their fort destroying capabilities, you gotta pay for trucks. And if you're not using trucks because, they take more damage, then they do go a little slower. But I'm gonna risk it now, have 2 units of that, and I'm gonna get a Panzer 38T. A lot of my Panzers down south are 1s and 2s. They're a little outdated. So a nice 38T, good Czech model, not too out of date, in September 1st, 39. I'm actually going to save a slot open, see how Poland responds. And for that, I get a reconnaissance bomber. So it looks like a Stuka, but it actually doesn't attack quite as well. It has a negative to attack, but it sees better. That's okay, though. I still want to lay down as much air cover as I can. Now with this bomber, because it already started over this unit, I can attack and then move it if I want other air units to be able to get a chance. And so right here we're moving, we're scouting. I want to cut Poland off completely to the south and then swing north with my main body of force here. I'm going to bring this tank up from the rear, and it attacked an anti-tank unit in trenches, even though it only had 1 out of 10 strength points. It just wasn't doing. At least my Panzer I, the smaller and weaker unit, was able to do its job, though. And I'm going to move up. Now, I don't know what I want that little anti-tank to do. I'm just going to keep him in the back. Keep my artillery in the back. Artillery are great because they will cause suppression on enemy units. So I really don't want him to get damaged and start paying more in prestige. The in-game currency is prestige. You can earn it for taking strong points and things like that, and then you spend it on upgrading, repairing, and then buying new units throughout the campaign. So one of the worst things you can get into is if you have to repair a lot of units mid-battle, it's actually going to cost you more prestige than it would to repair them after a fight. So sometimes it's good to be deliberate and not just launch suicide attacks unless you think you'll have the prestige to spare. Now this anti-air unit, I didn't think I'd take a casualty. Wasn't really worth 1-to-1, but I'm trying to be deliberate in my air attacks, do as much damage as possible. Without Stukas, though, it's only going to be so much. And now, see, here's the negative of the engineers. They can only move at max 2 hexes in terrain like that. But that's okay, because my brand new 38T getting it done. And recon, what's really cool, they can actually move twice. So I'm going to move, attack, kill that unit, and then get away safely after having taken that airfield. Now, the Poles could recapture the airfield if they wish, but that's going to be up to them. And right there, love that. That makes up for some of my bad early attacks. It was supposed to be 2 casualties for me, 4 for them. Worked out. Poland, though, right there, gets their Air Force off the ground, and I took some Stuka casualties. My fighters were up north, doing anything but. And Poland moves their anti-tank unit and hits my tanks on the road. Ouch, that's going to sting. So I'm going to get my tanks out of there because, again, I don't want it to turn into World War I. This is supposed to be blitzkrieg and fast. And I don't want to have to spend that much prestige. You'll notice here that if you surround an enemy unit on multiple sides with units that can attack, the enemy will actually lose combat efficiency and won't fight as well. So that's why I move both fighters in first before attacking. And now that they're open, I'm going to bring in my attack Stukas. 3 damage. That's a result I want to see. And my engineers, well, they almost kill it. They tried, bless their hearts. I'm going to move in my recon, take this airfield for the second time, and this time they destroy that anti-tank unit. And what's cool is if you see there, I can take the strong point, then move down, take the next one, then move again. So recon, because they can take incremental points, they're real good for safely scouting or taking multiple points. You really got to watch out for them in play-by-email games and even single player. The enemy will move their recon units around to your flanks. And now that I'm starting to hit the objective, I'm going to start wheeling some of my units north to meet up with the rest. Hopefully I can take this in one go. I do, and 0 casualties. It's beautiful. I'm also excited because any unit with gold surrounding the unit number, that's going to be one of your core units. And not only can you upgrade them and keep them throughout the campaign, but they gain experience and they can get special traits. Now this Stuka, as much as I want to drop bombs, because there's a fighter there, it's going to support that infantry, and I'm just going to move them out to the airfield, play safe. And Poland scrambles a bomber. This is the second game I've played, just like decisive campaigns, where the Polish Air Force is surprisingly fierce. And here Poland launches a counterattack. 2 cavalry units and some mechanized infantry/tankettes, and ooh, it's rough. They took 7 casualties, but I can't hold out 1 versus 3 forever. That's going to be tricky. So I take another airfield. You have 2 types of victories in this game. You can get marginal or decisive. And in the grand campaign, there's not as much variety between the 2 types as far as how they do different scenarios. But I'm going to challenge myself. I still want to play for decisive victories every game that I can. Now, I'm not going to be replaying turns and things like that. You guys are going to see my successes and my failures. So if I'm not getting them, I'm not getting them. But I do want to shoot for them each time. I'm at least going to try for the objectives. And if I fall short, it happens. And there, we're finally getting rid of some of the pesky Polish Air Force. But these tanks, they're either facing entrenched infantry or anti-tank guns. Luckily, my artillery is going to knock them down, and their efficiency is going to be lost. And with only 5 steps there in the city, I got to give some support, even though I could take casualties here. And I don't. Oh, that's a result I needed. That gun is going to move up so slowly, and I might just have to think about bringing my tanks back. I don't know. I really want to get rid of that anti-tank gun, or excuse me, their anti-air gun, but man, it's fun. This game, especially on the grand campaigns, you don't feel like it's a puzzle as much as you're making interesting tactical decisions. I don't know if I'm going to attack with that unit. I'm going to see what sort of results I can get. It would be nice if I can just use Stukas. They might take some losses, but they don't, and they destroy the anti-air. Now I can just start whittling this infantry down. Because 1-to-1, when they're using much cheaper units than mine, nothing doing there, those attacks just aren't worth launching. I know my unit in the city is weak. I know it is, but I really just don't want to spend the prestige. Prestige in the field, especially if you do the good recruits, if you're paying for recruits that don't lose you experience, then it's going to be rough. But, they're down to 2 steps. I just got to pull them back. I want to save the prestige, but that means that unit's basically out for the rest of the map. And I'm trying to get anything I can into range, but these guns are only going to be able, and right there you can see I'm amazing at this game. I misclick. Should have used the artillery, but oh well. It didn't cost me that much. I'm hoping right now, looking at my prestige, I do have some upgrades I want to do as far as getting my Panzer 1s and my Panzer 2s to a more reasonable level. But yeah, MLG right there. Easy peasy. So now with the Luftwaffe coming in, I'm hoping I can get my weak units out of there. That cavalry is done. I take some heavier losses than I expect, but it's so good to get that Polish cavalry out. Polish cavalry, there's kind of this myth out there that they actually charged German tanks and didn't understand that they were real tanks and not training tanks. But the Polish cavalry were more like a dragoon. They would ride forward and quickly mount, dismount. They were fierce, and reading Heinz Guderian's Panzer Leader, he talks about how often the Polish cavalry would just give the Germans fits because they could get anywhere in the battlefield, and it wasn't just easy to surround units. The cavalry were mobile enough, you had to fight your way through them. And in this game, they take pretty high losses, but they also dish them out too. They're very glass cannony, and they can be rough if you're trying to conserve your prestige, especially early on in a grand campaign. And again, I plan on going through the whole thing, so if I take too many losses early, it's going to become a headache later on. But the cool thing about these grand campaigns, I don't find that that's as much of a problem as it is in the base game. If you guys want to leave comments about the base game, let me know, but I found that to be much more puzzly and needing to do replays and things like that. So Poland is going to ride or die. I hope that one casualty was worth it, guys. I really do. I'm going to have to deal with that gun before I finish their air force, but the south is basically secured. I just have to start swinging to the northeast. And I'm going to move my infantry up across the board. I want to take that airfield. That's going to be part of the victory. That attack would not be the smartest thing I ever did, but my Panzer 1s will be ready soon. I'm hoping there's nothing in that forest, and I'm not going to have to worry about that. And just moving my panzers up. I'm getting ready for the final push on Poznan. Even though it's only turn 6, there's not a ton of units in the way. And right here, totally unoccupied, I will take free prestige when you get it. Even if something's not glowing and it's not an objective, you still get prestige for it. So it's worth doing. And with 2 units against 1, I can't kill the rest of the Polish Air Force, but I can at least weaken it pretty heavily. Terrain is going to give me fits here. So is this anti-air gun. That thing is so strong. But I really like how the scenario designers, even in the first mission here, they teach you that units will support each other and you're going to have to go through anti-air to be able to just bomb. They know that people are fans of the Germans and want to do the whole unstoppable Luftwaffe thing. I'll take that. My casualties weren't as high as I thought they'd be, and neither were theirs, but I still came out on top. Same thing there. I only inflicted 2, but I only took 1. I'll take it. Now, my 38T, hero of the battlefield, does kill it, but it is down to half strength. It's going to be getting pretty rough. I really like the next unit buttons. It's very quick, very easy to see. You'll see that I use that a lot to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Even on these smaller scenarios, you don't want to forget units, leave, moves on the table. Except for that Stuka. I'm not going to do that. And right now, their Air Force is retreating. It's going to repair for a few turns. It's basically conceding me the turn. And I'm just going to keep this party rolling. Move my tanks up. They do have an advantage, but my infantry just in this terrain can't quite get anything going. But I slowly get the best of them. However, these Stukas are going to have to come back. I'll see if these ones can just take out the anti-air. And they do. Beautiful. Now I can move on. I don't have to worry about that airfield, especially with those weakened units. And I almost wanted to just go into the city unoccupied, but I know they have something in that objective city. They almost always do. It's very rare that objective cities will be left. And one of the reasons I don't cross blindly over the river there is units on river hexes will take extra damage. So until I could scout and see that it was open, I didn't want to just give them free damage. Right there, if you bump into a unit you can't see, you have an unexpected encounter where they usually attack first, then you attack. I knew that was there. It actually worked out for me because they conceded the air. And you can call it unexpected, but really that was better than I hoped for. I thought they might have actually gone further east just to get away. And even though my 38Ts are weak, again, surrounding a unit like that and attacking from multiple sides, that's going to give me better combat results. The best units for attacking entrenchments like that are going to be my engineers, and luckily I have 2 units, so I'm going to do that. Just like historically, tanks and anything armored won't do super well in a city. Now, I do have units on a river hex, and they do have tankettes coming in, so they could make me hurt here, but 2 for 2, I'll take that. It could have been much worse. We are now halfway through this game. We're on turn 8. And it looks like things are going well, but I have not reached a couple of my final objectives. So what I love about Panzer Corps, these games are short, they're intense. And right there, I see my first artillery. So if I try to attack those infantry, weak as they are, they're going to be making me pay for it, and I just can't afford that. Now, I really want that airfield. Some unit's going to have to take it, but I want to get attacks on that artillery as quickly as possible. I'm going to take some free prestige there. I'm going to move up and start swinging around. Again, it's in a kind of weird position where I don't want to end up on river hexes, but I got to keep the troops moving forward. And I'm going to start hitting their artillery and their infantry from the air. The nice thing is they don't have any anti-air, so they don't get to do anything about the Luftwaffe slowly working them down. Now, this poor recon unit, he's just going to be stuck on those rivers. But if I can get concentric attacks, I can slowly work them down. My 38Ts, even at half strength, hanging on, and now attacking from rivers, I can get some better results, although, oh, man, that penalty hurt me there. And it's almost dead, no casualties. I should be able to take it out next turn. Not worried at all. And I'm just having a blast here. Panzer Corps is just so quick and breezy. It's commonly referred to as a beer and pretzels game. It's not meant to be a stressful head crusher sweat game like decisive campaigns or especially War in the East. It's just, hey, I want to play around. I want it World War II themed. Good, interesting decisions. I'm going to refill that Panzer. If you get replacements, you will actually get more supplies and more fuel. But I am trying to hoard my prestige because I want to mass upgrade all those Panzers at the end of this battle. And his artillery is almost dead. Stuka's attacking artillery without support, killing 8. And right there, I have so many options now. And I am going to take out their artillery. That is going to greatly weaken all their other units. But unfortunately, with my tanks being where they are and being Panzer IIs, I just am not strong enough yet to take on that anti-tank. I'm going to move my artillery up. The other anti-tank is probably going to stay close to Poznan. So it's only turn 9. I still have a little bit of time. I'm not on a crunch yet. but I've almost taken all the side objectives. It's just really going to be moving up to Poznan, and I found that they definitely have some artillery support. They have dug-in infantry, and they do have anti-tanks. So with the river crossing here to the south, once I get there, it's going to be rough. And rugged defense. It's a dice roll that just means the defenders are going to defend very well. If you take one casualty and you dish out one on a rugged defense, that's about as good as you can hope for. And they are being super aggressive. They're actually creating more anti-tank units up by Poznan. It's like they know. They know I bought the 38T. They know my plan. But I also have Stukas, and I'm going to keep destroying their artillery. I'm going to start hitting their anti-tank from the air, getting really good results. My units are so weak, and as a challenge to myself, I really try as long as I can in this particular scenario to not reinforce. I could just dump prestige and reinforce all my units back to full strength, but I'm trying to see if they can grind it out, do it on their own, and give me more options in the next round. It's going to be a little risky, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. Going to surround that artillery from multiple sides. Clean up crew here in the south. And hopefully I can get some good results. And right there, much better than it said. They retreat. And I can finally use my anti-tank gun. Not against tanks, but, I'll take it. I will take what I can get at this point. Panzers are going up, and goodbye. That is the last major objective other than Poznan, so we're getting there. And just saying some of these Polish names, I'm feeling deja vu after my decisive campaigns game. I will link that in the description, and I'll put a card up, but their artillery is going to be done. They're down to 2 anti-tank units and 1 dug-in infantry. Make that 2 dug-in infantry. So the cool thing about Panzer Corps, Poland also has prestige, and the other countries will too when we get there in the campaign, and they can buy things. So they're going to be dumping their prestige, trying to buy core units and hold me off, whereas right now I'm trying to conserve my prestige as much as possible and just kind of deal with stuff. Now right there, yeah, that Panzer I would just be dead. Unfortunately, my weakened infantry, not much I can do. So here, Luftwaffe, I am going to rely on these guys so much. And just raining death from the sky. Even if it's one step, 1 out of 10, I'll take it. It's not horrible odds. Using fighters. Fighters aren't always great at attacking ground targets, but if you can get a -1, it is what it is. Whew. I think I can take out one of their anti-tanks, but the last thing I want to do is get attacked in too many places on the river hex. My artillery is open right now, but I'm hedging my bets, thinking that they're just not going to want to move those anti-tank units far away and isolate themselves. But now if I move this unit here and move my artillery, they would have to move to a river hex to get to my weakened tank, and they can't get to my artillery. Not only that, but my engineer unit causes them to retreat when they're surrounded by other units, so they actually surrender. And there, my reconnaissance battalions are going to be getting fired. That 38T, and there too. No casualties for them, 4 casualties between the 2 units for me, and that is not what I was promised. Recon Battalion, we gotta have a talk. And they're gonna hit me on the river hex. That makes sense, that's what I would do. But it spreads them out, and I get a good result on a fighter. I'll take -2 from a fighter attack any day. And right here, I want to have my good Stukas, not the reconnaissance ones, attack, and devastating, -6. Now, with my pioneers, I have to just give them more ammunition, otherwise they can get attacked for free. hitting them from the air with everything I can. It's turn 12, and I'm going a little slow just because I really only have one city left to take, and I don't want to take too many casualties doing it. So I can afford to wait an extra turn. If it gets desperate on turn 14, then I can get fancy. But for now, I have artillery and air superiority, and it's not even close. And that's what I want to do. So I want to move my artillery in and start weakening their infantry. I can use another unit to close up and clean up that last anti-tank. So I'm going to do that. My pioneers take no casualties. And now, if I surround Poznan from all sides, I'll be good. I don't want to lose the 38T. That's a little dicey. But I am going to move up. I am going to have my units ready. That's the best I can expect from a river hex. And I think I'm just going to cool it from there. See if they counterattack. They really don't have that many turns left. And they do. But I actually get the better of them. And I'm real happy with that. They have to retreat when they attacked me in a river hex. So the Germans are showing their mettle. They are not going to back down. They are not afraid to do a siege. Blitzkrieg aside, they are going to take this city one way or the other. And I have 2 turns. So again, I still have a little room to maneuver, get lots of units in for this concentric bonus. And then artillery, and air. So I'm going to hit them, weaken them. Thought I weakened them. They actually hold out pretty well. Pioneers, going to dig them out best I can. Good results, 3 and 1. I will definitely take that. My pioneers are weak, but I'm starting to close in. And right there, tanks in the open. Not great results. Sometimes this game, it's so scary. You just click attack, you don't know the results, you know what they're supposed to be, and they're out of ammo there, so I'm attacking with all these weakened units, just hoping I get something, and it doesn't look like I'm going to. But my pioneers dig the enemy out. And now to add insult to injury, I'm going to move my recon in and try to kill their last unit. And they surrender, and I do. So 2 turns to go, and I will have a decisive victory. I hope you guys had fun watching. If you guys learned something or enjoyed yourselves and enjoyed the show, please leave a comment, like, or subscribe. Stay excited about history, and I will see you guys in the next video.